Hey, this is Don McDowell. It's April 24th. It's about 87 degrees out. We're about 3,100 feet in elevation. We're on the 618 road going north, which is about 5.9 miles east of Camp Verde. We're headed down to the Wickiup Creek, which is also known as FR 618C. We're going to be looking at a couple of different water tanks that are suspect for HPC and rehabilitation, so stay with us. We'll be right back. Okay, so this is the 618 road looking north. You'll see a pile of dirt down there. That is some recent excavation that came out of Wickiup Creek by the Forest Service. We'll take a close-up look at that. Okay, we're on the north side of this little knoll, about 3/8 of a mile south of the, but what I'm trying to do here is give you a little bit of a panoramic view of what we're looking at here. It's pretty thick, and as we pan back to the south, you can see the hills and great cover, great forage for the mule deer, and periodically it said there's elk in here. Haven't been able to find it, but we're going to still be looking when it becomes December 1st. Okay, we've moved down off the top of the hill. We're down here on the flats. It's kind of like a little valley. We've got this hill that you're looking at is directly west of the 618. And as we pan on around, you can see it travels down to the southeast. And right about directly in front of these trees that we're looking at is the what I'm going to call tank number 1. We're going to look at that, and then as we travel in, we're looking to the northwest. There's another tank up here on the hill that we found with Google Earth. We're going to do some investigating on that on foot and get some measurements. And on the Google Earth, it was about 142 foot in diameter. I'm not sure how deep it is, but we'll check that out. This is a shot looking directly east from the 618 road. What we're coming up on right now is Wickiup Creek, and in speaking with Rancher Cannon from the V-Bar B Ranch, the Forest Service was going to come in and do some channeling in here. So what we're seeing, and that was about a month ago, so apparently the Forest Service has been in here rooting around. I think what they were trying to do is just get this thing so it'd drain. Actually, it looks like all it's going to do is hold water. There's no way for it to get out unless it gets really full. So we're going to keep going and go down and take a look at tank number 1. Okay, we've reached the stock tank. You can see that yellow sign down there. That's the 1-lane bridge right there at the creek. So it's not far, and here's the expanse of the first tank we're talking about, and it's surrounded by a 3-strand barbed wire fence. And right now, I can't see if there's any water in it, but we'll. Okay, made it through the fence. Not over the fence, not under the fence, but through the fence. And a lot of grass in here, 12, 14 inches high. And this thing's burned up pretty well, but it appears it hasn't had any attention for quite some time, either by the ranch or the Forest Service. So up on the berm, here we are looking down. This is dry as bone, kind of what we suspected. So there is a drainage coming into here. Judging from the slope, looks like more drain out than drain in, just because of the silt built up. So one of the recommendations was to get a machine in here and not necessarily widen it, but deepen it, and perhaps reconfigure the berm. And over here to the east is this little channel that comes in here. So we'll follow that out via Google. Okay, we've made our way over here to the south berm of the tank number 1. And as you can see, it would take one heck of a channeling project to bring water in here. So I'm still here at tank number 1. And what occurs to me is, I believe at one point in time this was pretty well open grassland, but as with a lot of different places, we're seeing juniper encroachment, and I believe that's what's going on here. So this is a south-facing slope. Look how congested this is. And I'm just wondering if we got in here and did some juniper removal, some mastication, that we've got one hell of a watershed right here. These slopes that I think with a little bit of effort could be channeled down during the rainy season and spring and monsoon to keep this tank filled up, because this tank is in a strategic place for wildlife. We've seen deer tracks of all kinds, white-tailed mule deer, awful lot of activity of predator and small animal base. So it leads me to believe that this, the way this thing is situated, I mean, just look at this. Here's the south slope of the north ridge that could eventually drain down into here, and there may be some opportunity on the. You're looking south at the north side of the knoll down there on the south side. So I'm just thinking we get in here and do some mastication, and especially right in this area right here, there's already natural drainages pretty much obscured by all the brush. They could be hogged out and get the swallow channel down in here for a permanent source of water, and feed the wildlife and help a symbiotic relationship with the ranchers here. So, okay, enough about tank number 1. We're gonna go find tank number 2. We'll be back. All right, after a white knuckle buster drive, on this road, we finally have come to the what we call tank number 2, and I think it's going to be a candidate perhaps for some watershed work too. It's strategically placed between these two big ridges, and well, as you can see, it's not very deep, and that's one of the things that troubles me. I'm not sure between the Forest Service, and so I think we're on Forest Service land right here, and part of the V-Bar V Ranch. Nobody's taking care of these tanks, and as you can see, there's an awful lot of watershed draining into this thing. Right now this view is to the looking south, and you can see all the erosion that potentially could be opened up to allow water to funnel down here, but as well, looking from the east, this thing was probably a good 3/4 of a mile, and it's got all kinds of ditches and stuff draining into this thing, and then obviously up here, I mean, a lot of the water's coming down off of this south side of the north ridge. So just take a peek up here, and you can see, kind of get a feel for the terrain. The west side of the bank drops off significantly, and again, we're seeing all kinds of deer tracks, big tracks, little tracks, coyote tracks, bobcat tracks, and coming in here we saw one lone elk track. Obviously was lost, but no, I'm talking with rancher Logan, and he said this thing was pretty full 1st of December when we had all the rain. So here it is, end of April 24th, and this water will be gone by end of the weekend. So we're going to reach 100 degrees today, 102 down in the valley. So it's pretty much over. So We're gonna get some aerial footage of this thing when we come back and see what we can find and talk to the folks at HPC, get their thoughts on it, and see if we can't bring some permanent water here to support the mule deer and some of God's other little creatures. So that's it for tank number 2. On the way out of here, we'll stop and give you a panoramic view of the slope. It would be the south-facing slope off of the south side of this north ridge that we're standing on right here. So we're going to take a short break and beat the way out of here. We'll be back. Here's one more quick shot looking east, going into tank 2. This is some drainage, and once again, this ground has a lot of granite in it, so you know it's pretty interesting. And then the as you go further to the south, it's got 1, 2, 3 more drainages coming in here. So there's a lot of water coming in here. Just wish we could hold it. Okay, we're just a little bit east of the tank number 2, but here's a little bit better close-up of the ravines, the drainages, and what Mother Nature's doing to try to put water into this tank. And it doesn't look to me like that's had any maintenance done on it forever. It's just absolutely full of silt, and I think with a little time, effort, and a machine, we can get in there and get that cleaned up to at least quadruple the volume. But you can see by this, man, there's no want for water certain times of the year. We just need to figure out how we're going to improve this and capture the water. So on over to the panoramic view of tank number 1. Okay, so we're looking south from the north slope facing tank number 1 that we looked at earlier today. So this will give you a pretty good idea of the type of drainage and watershed that perhaps would be available on both sides, as a matter of fact, if we can get some channeling done here. But this is actually almost a choke point for wildlife coming in. Okay, that's pretty much it for me today. I'm Don McDowell. This is brought to you by the Arizona Deer Association, April 24th, Road 618C, tanks 1 and tanks number 2.